Hello, everyone. Really glad to see some familiar names. Uh, Hopefully, some familiar faces in the studio. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us today at Ice Cafe. Um, I know that others will join us a little bit into the program. What we normally start with is my colleague Puya outlining who ICE is and what the Ice Cafe is set out to do. So I'm going to um, give you a quick heads up on that for some of you who are, I think, first time into the Ice Cafe experience. So we do these events on a monthly basis, and the idea is that we listen to what the market's looking for in terms of their own personal development growth, and we adjust the Ice Cafe accordingly. A lot of the material in the Ice Cafe that ICE delivers is aligned with what ICE is all about, the International Coaching Education. And we're accredited by International Coaching Federation, ICF. We have over 10 years experience in accredited coach training. So for people who want to become coaches, professional coaches at the various levels that ICF has described, I know some of you are on that program already. So welcome, Sam, James. And we also do an advanced coach training program that was recently created by ICF, which is around team coaching. So very much linked to organizations and team leaders, coaches who want to deliver that service for organizations and teams. And our fundamental belief is that all of us as human beings are able, capable, and have a series of talents that are natural to us. They reoccur whether we see them or not in our behaviors, our thoughts, our feelings. And all of our programs are based on this strength-based development, as well as the ICF 8 coaching competencies that they have put as a standard for international coaches. So I'm very excited today to be with you. My name is Taimur Miri. For those of you who don't know me, I've been in the coaching business for over 20 years. I used to work in an international company, British Petroleum, before that. And I learned how this process can be so effective in both personal and business life. As it was for me, I wanted that for others. So I helped create the ICE brand, and we deliver these programs in English. And I've been doing that for, as I said, over 10 years, training people, and 20 years actually coaching senior execs, leaders around the world. So I'm very excited to be with you today. I want to share with you what it is that we're going to be focusing on today. So if you've signed up today, I'm assuming you've seen the title. So it's all about empowering perspectives. So how can we create change in whatever area in our lives, whether it's personal or professional? How can we create positive, sustainable change so that we move towards some of the goals that we desire more powerfully, more in flow, and constantly, so we don't get stuck, and we kind of see ourselves approaching those desired goals and feel good about that. So perspective is one of the foundations as a tool for coaches to use in order to help their clients shift the way they're thinking towards their desired goals, hence moving them faster towards it. So what will you kind of gain out of today? So I'm hoping that there's 4 things you're going to walk away with. If you don't already know them, there'll be some new, some hopefully new learnings, and some you may have heard. Maybe you hear it in a different way, and it'll create some new insights. So number one, we get aligned of what perspective means from a coaching language. So the definition of perspective. So we get to know what perspective means. We also get to know what talents are uh, from from our view, from Gallup's view, if you've heard that brand. So we'll talk a little bit about talents, which we all have, and we get to define it so that when we talk about it, we all know what we're talking about. And then we're going to dive into understand how perspective can have an influence in how we get things done and how it links with our talents. And then finally, you're going to walk away with a 3-step process where hopefully in whatever field you're in, professionally or personally, if you're if you're a father, you're a husband, whatever role you're in, you can use this 3-step process in order to have a more impactful conversation with others and support them in getting to where they want to go faster and more at ease. So that's what I'm promising to deliver today. Before I dive in to deliver that, I'm going to throw out a poll. I'd like you to participate and let us know what you think of the questions that we're asking you. So it's a little bit about getting to know each other. And I'm going to share the results of the poll so you guys get to know a little bit about each other as well. So here goes. It's 3 questions. The first one is really about us getting to know how you're linking with us. How did you find us? The second one is more about you. Which categories do you represent in the list that's identified? And that's multiple choice. You may be in multiple categories there. And then finally, we've asked you if you've taken the Clifton Strength Finder assessment, which is an assessment that we incorporate in all our programs, whereby you get to know your significant or dominant themes or categories of talents, as we call them. And we'll kind of define that shortly. So those are the 3 questions. Won't take you long to kind of respond. So I'll just give you a little bit of time for everybody to respond, so we get to know who's who and what people have done. And I will share the results shortly. Thank you for participating, by the way, and welcome to those who've joined us recently. I can see Khadisha. It's good to see you again, Khadisha. Let me share the results of those of you who participated. So over 70% of you participated. Here are the results. How you found us. So that's more for us just to understand where we can connect with you more. But this bit is all about you. So 80% of you are coaches in training. And I know quite a few of you already in the group. Interesting enough, as well as being coaches, there's 40% of you seeking a new job or a career. So there's transition involved. And the rest of you are managers or leaders employed in a company, or you're already a coach. So kind of hopefully you're earning an income through this practice as well. And 60% of you are saying you've done the Clifton test. And for that 60% that said they've done it, what I'd like you to do right now, if you may, just next to your name, go to rename in the menu. So if you go to participants, go to rename, and just next to your name, open a bracket like I've done, and just put the first 2 or 3 letters of each of your top 5 themes. And if you don't have them handy and it's going to take time, you don't want to spend time to kind of dig it out, that's fine. The reason why I said share it is as I communicate with you, maybe there is something that we can draw out and look specifically at the audience that's present in terms of how their talents match perspectives. So thanks for doing that. And then so 20% of you saying you haven't done it, and 20% are saying you'd like to do it. So for the 20% that say that you want to do it, I just want to kind of just jump in and let you know that you can buy the code directly from the Gallup site, or you can come and join us at the next strength workshop, which I think is at the 22nd of November. And so what we've done based on our 10-year anniversary, we've created a workshop, strength workshop, that you normally pay £150 to join in, which incorporates the code and the report that you get. And through the workshop, the 3-hour workshop, we work through the report, and you learn the basics of strength-based development and a model to go and apply. Now, because of the 10-year anniversary, we've reduced the price down to £30, so 80% discount. So go to our site, you can sign in. If you want to do that test, you can pay £10 more and do the workshop as well. So it's up to you which choice you take. So I thought I'd throw that in while it came up. Okay, so welcome again for everybody who's here. We don't have a very big group today, so here's what I propose. I propose that we transform this into a workshop whereby you get involved as much as you want to, and I'll allocate you to breakout rooms somewhere down the road, and I'll get you guys to talk to each other about some of the things I'm going to raise today, where you can share your own thoughts, and then come back and we'll talk about what you've discovered and the insights, and then we'll carry on. So we'll do a little bit of interaction like that, and to make it a little bit more different than normal. So without spending any more time about introduction, I think let's just dive in. I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to ask you guys to use the raise hand option. So if you haven't done this in Zoom before, you've got something called reactions in your menu. Now you can use the raised hand or the thumbs up in order to answer this question. So here goes. So please raise your hand if you always write down a list of things to do. How many of you always do that? Thank you for participating. I'm going to come back to you. I'm just giving you a little bit of time. So for those of you who've raised your hand or are thinking of raising your hand, just as a matter of interest, how many of you do this even at weekends when you're on holiday? Just as a curiosity, but I think 3 of your hands up. Yeah, so Khadija doesn't, but Stuart and James kept their hands up. Okay, so that's interesting. So what are we talking about? So I'm going to ask those of you who have your hands up. Okay, I'm going to ask you this question. So we're kind of building up to what is going on so that this behavior shows up. So my question to you is, when you are writing a list, and you say you're doing this always, right? So you're always writing this list. So when you go back into your head in terms of when you are writing this list, right? What are you thinking when you're writing this list? Or what are you feeling when you're writing this list? What is the recurring thought or feeling? The behavior is obvious, right? You're writing. So Carla's written, I'm trying to organize my day. Great. James, Stuart, Khadija, what's going on?
Yeah, I think for me, I have quite a sophisticated, what I call management system. I have a plan, and then I have a daily plan. And I don't do that at weekend per se, but I do have a few things that I want to try and accomplish each weekend. What do I feel when I do that? I feel organized. I feel on top of things. And it gives me, there's also a very practical reason I do that. It just helps me get through the things I want to get through in a way that I can accomplish a lot.
Okay, great. So there's a structure behind it. It gives you structure, and you feel organized. And for those of you who've done this test, this assessment, so James's first theme is discipline, right? He's smiling there. So that seems to be driving the show. That seems to be what is driving James to write this list down, because the discipline needs this theme, or this pattern of thought, feeling, behavior. It kind of needs organization. It feels good when things are organized. So James is automatically creating a structure that gives him that feeling and moves towards that belief that he is now organized. Right? So just so that you're understanding what's going on, this is a recurring thought and it's a recurring pattern, right? And this is telling us a little bit more about how James is potentially different to Stuart, Khadisha, or I think Carla, who mentioned why she's doing it. So anybody else wants to share why? Thanks, James.
What's going on? Share. Yeah, so for me, it's knowing what is high importance, like in terms of the priority. So, and the way I put my things, it also depends on like top priority going down. And I also, on this type of scratches of papers, like small stickers, I put the deadline, like by when it needs to be done. So today, tomorrow, whatever, 3 days after, or this week, something like that. And then when I complete the task, I scratch that whatever sentence or task, and I feel good about it.
Oh, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So there's two things I picked up in Khadisha's conversation. When I say two things, I'm kind of focusing on how Khadisha's thinking, how she's feeling, and what she's doing in order to feel and think that aligned, which means it's Khadisha's, if you like, automatic way that she is delivering what works for her, right? And we all have those patterns, right? So it's just a different pattern that occurs. Now, let me ask you, Khadisha, when you were describing the first part, which of your top 5 themes do you think is playing and active when you're doing that? Which one are you supporting?
Yeah, I think it's significance, what is important. And the second one is the focus. What should I focus first of all? The number 1, the number 2, the number 3. And then there is also strategic. So I intentionally design my day such that I complete like top priorities first, and then focus on the other things. So the structure plays, and this is strategic. Yeah.
Fantastic. So for those of you who haven't done the test, so some of these names maybe have no meaning to you. So I'm going to explain a little bit as we're going along. So for those of you who do the test and you have a theme called focus come up in your top 5 significant themes or talents, focus as a theme or a group of talents, one of its drivers, one of the needs it has, is to prioritize. Right? That's how it feels good, because it prioritizes and deals with the priority first. And that's not the only talent that's in that category of theme of focus, but that's the one Khadisha is strong at. That's the one that's recurring in for her, and she is listing it so that she is in black and white, getting her priorities sorted, right? So and then she talked about strategic and her first theme, which is significance, right? The significance is all about you doing something that is really important, that matters, right? So Khadisha is kind of prioritizing subconsciously for that too. And the strategic is about how do I get it done the best way? So she prioritizes to get it done the best way. And it's kind of, she's got multiple talents combining together that is creating how Khadisha thinks and then behaves. And she mentioned some feelings too, right? And at the end, she said, I cross them off and that makes me feel good. Right now, that's a theme that's not in her top 5, but it's pretty likely it is in her top 10, right? And when you do these assessments, there's a 34 theme, and when you get your report, you can get them in the list 1 to 34, and the top ones are where your brain, your neurology is working towards you, working at your best. You're utilizing your talents. Now, the one that I heard right at the end is the achiever theme. The achiever theme loves to cross off, meaning the job's done. And when they cross it off, the job is done, they feel good. They've got to finish the job. And if they don't finish the job, it doesn't feel quite good, right? Is that right, Khadisha? If you don't finish what you said, it doesn't feel so good. So you literally, the behavior is you literally go and cross it off, right? And I know people who have these themes, especially the achiever, where they'll go and do something and they hadn't put it on their list, and they'll come and even though they hadn't put it on the list and they've achieved it, they'll come and add it to the list and cross it off straight away, because they love putting it on the list and they love crossing it out. It just makes them feel so damn good, right? So this is not good or bad, right or wrong. We're talking about behaviors or thoughts, patterns of thoughts or patterns of feelings that we all have based on the combination of talents that we're wired with. And we're all wired very differently, right? These combinations work together very differently. So thank you for participating, those of you who did. And I think that might give you some flavor of what talents and themes are and what they're doing for us. So let's just carry along those lines. Let me just share the screen again. Let me just ask you, can you raise your hand if you always seek a familiar face at a big party? How many of you always seek a familiar face at a big party? Now, I don't know if James and Khadisha are specifically participating a lot, or I'm just lucky in drawing their themes out. So Armin is added, Stuart's added. So here's the thing, Camelia, thanks for participating, everyone. So here's the thing, same question to you. So when that's happening, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? Because what you're doing is you're moving physically towards the people you know. That's what you're doing. That's your behavior. But what are you thinking and feeling? So some of us who have that theme, we even before we go to the party, we're thinking about this, right? And our thoughts are coming up. I wonder if I'll know someone at this party. and I want to go to this party only if I know someone. Otherwise, I'm not sure I want to go. So does anybody want to share? What's the thought or feelings that's going on?
Yeah, so Timur, you know, I definitely always seek a familiar face. What am I feeling? It's that sense of reassurance. If there's somebody there, I know I can go and have a conversation and sort of ease my way into the rest of that. No problem meeting new people, but I always like to connect with somebody I know well first. And yeah, I'll feel pretty good once I know, oh, there's someone at least I know there. But yeah, it's feeling good, feeling reassured. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks, James. So that theme, relator in James's top 5, REL that he's written. Khadisha's got hers in the top 5. Armin's got his in his top 5. I'm guessing if Stuart does his Strength Finder test, he will have relator somewhere in the top 10 for sure. That's why the feeling comes up, or the thought and the behavior. It's not that you have to think about it. It's just there. It's part of you. It is a characteristic. It's the way you're wired, right? So that's how our brain is functioning. So if we want to put it into a sentence, so those of us who have relator high up in our dominant themes, it means we feel good when we're around people we know. We feel safe. We feel reassured. We feel it's a trusting environment. And we're drawn towards going there naturally. And we're thinking that that's what I want. I want to reconnect and go even deeper with the people I know. So it's just there. Now, some of you, as James said, some of you not only love to go and meet up with people you know, you also love to know new people, right? And that's another theme, that you may have both of those in your top 10, right? So whatever it is that the way we're wired, it kind of shows up in the way we're thinking, the way we're feeling, and the way we do things. Now, if you take this conversation and we take it a little bit further to you at work, or you at home, or you with your friends, wherever you are, right? Your brain and your cells are with you. So this is happening all the time in whatever environment. It's there. So if you think about this, when you're at work, you will naturally, if you have those themes, you will naturally be drawn towards people you know at work. And for some of you, it's not so easy to go and meet up new people. It doesn't feel comfortable. So in certain roles that the job gives you, right, the business gives you, you're not at your strength. You're not utilizing those talents because you've been given the wrong role, right? Just imagine somebody that really doesn't like to go and meet new people, but they love meeting people that they know, and they're sent to a networking event as a salesperson to go and hook up and get to know some new people, right? Now that initially might be taunting, might be, oh my God, I don't want to do that. So that's not the end of it. So each of these themes have characteristics. So you may be able to tap in to a theme that's strong in you, the way you are wired, the characteristics you do have, and intentionally use that towards going and doing something in the network, in the networking event. And there are strategies where even if the talents are not there, you can utilize strategies or structures that will help you go and deliver that job. So that's not the end of it. Just because you don't, it's not top end, I can't do that role. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's up to us to know ourselves and then think about how, based on knowing ourselves, how do I operate at my best? And then go and do that. And what we'll find is when we do that, we find we get results. So if you're working with others and supporting others, if you're a team leader, you're a coach, this would be a fantastic tool for you to have in supporting others too. Because all of us get stuck or all of us have blind spots. And as a coach or a manager, you might see that and support the others to go through that, and hence create the change, right? That's what we're doing today. So thanks again for participating. I'm gonna go and just share with you what we've just been talking about, the Strength Finder. So for those of you who've done it, you know this. For those of you who haven't and want to do it, these 34 themes, each one of them have characteristics. And when you do the report, when you do the test afterwards, the report will start giving you more personalized impact of the combination of the themes that are dominant for you, right? And so we've been talking about talents. Let's just define it. I've mentioned it a few times. Let's just look at this. So the test will give you a theme, like achiever or relator or a focus or strategy we've just been talking about. That's a theme. And within that theme, there's a category of talents. That means there are multiple talents that have been grouped together because there's some commonalities. So when you do the test and that theme comes up for you, there's a group of talents that are possible that might meet your personalized case. And when you get the report, you will have a personalized report that will start to identify the talents, the combination of the impact of the combination of talents you have. And talents are a natural recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior, which is what we've just been talking about. So what you've just been hearing from James, Hadisha, I think Carla wrote her thought down. What you've just been hearing or seeing is that these signature themes or dominant themes, the ones that come right up in your top 10 when you do this assessment, what it's telling us is that's how we filter our environment. That's how we filter. We do this automatically. So some of us go into a party and our filter sees people who we know, and our behavior goes towards going towards them. Some people will go into a party and their filter will see all the new people that they could possibly go and see, and that's what they'll do. That's what they'll go and do. That filter means there's something that's in the Zoom, like it's in there, you can see it. So by definition, there are some things you don't see. So we all have this. It's the way we're wired, right? We see some things and it's really easy for us to see it because that's what the way our brains are wired. And we don't see certain other things. And those things we don't see is our blind spot. And they could cause a problem. They could cause a problem. When it causes a problem is when we need someone to shine a light for us to see what the blind spot is. And then we readjust or manage and manage what we do have in the best way we can to get the results, right? So that's the strength-based development concept. And that's how it works. And it starts by us knowing ourselves, our characteristics, how we're wired, and then building on it of how do we develop what we do have to get the results. So this is probably a good cue, a good time to just look at the ICF coaching competencies. So for some of you who are familiar with this, you know this, right? I'm going to repeat something here. It might be a good refresher. For those of you who don't, this will help put into context that we're talking about a skill. We're talking about something that we can learn, okay? So talents aren't skills. Talents are the way we're wired. It's there. I can't go and learn to become, to get the significance talent within me. It's going to take me donkey's years. I'm not going to put my energy there. If it's not dominant, I'm going to focus on what's dominant, what's there for me to utilize, right? So talents are not learnable. It's just the way we're wired. But skills, knowledge are learnable. And we can go and practice them, and we can support our talents to become really strong in what we do. And when you look at the coaching competencies, there's 8 competencies that ICF has identified. They kind of fall into 4 pillars. And the perspective conversation today are really 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, right? It's co-creating relationships and communicating effectively. Co-creating relationships is by us getting to know ourselves so that we can create a safe environment for others by knowing that they are different and we are different to them. By knowing that, we can create a safe environment. If we go in there thinking, believing that they're the same as us, that environment's soon going to kind of become difficult to share useful information together, because it's not safe. The person doesn't feel that you get them, that they're being seen. So you got to see them for who they are for it to be safe. And that's a skill you can we can all develop. And we need to be present with them in order to understand them through their filter. So by doing that, we are creating the relationship. We're creating the foundation to then go and communicate effectively through our listening and through evoking awareness. Now, within that, it's where the perspective of you as the person talking to them and the perspective of them comes to play. And where their perspective is in their blind spot, you can help support them by shining that light so that they can see a different view, a different picture. And by that new picture, they can make new decisions, more powerful decisions towards where they want to go. And the reason why we're doing this is because ultimately we are all here to learn, develop, so that we can, go towards the goals we want in our lives, get the things we love and love to have and be. And by supporting one another to develop and utilize our talents more effectively, and using more empowering perspectives, we move easier, and I would say a lot of times faster towards our desired goals. Not that fast is necessarily better. Faster meaning we reduce the blocks on the way, so we're in flow more in order to get to the desired outcome. So let me ask you, what is perspective? What would you say perspective is? Anyone? You can write in chat if it's easier. Carla, thank you. A way of seeing things. Fantastic. Absolutely. Anything else? Anybody else wants to add to that?
The frame of reference.
A frame of reference. We talked about it, that our talents are a frame of reference. Our brains are wired to see this way and therefore not see another way, hence the filter. It's a reference. It's just the way we see, right? It's the reference points that work for us naturally. So we have to go into our conscious self, meaning we have to start thinking and making decisions about how we can see differently, right? Because naturally we don't. We have filters. So in order to see something broader, something different, we have to go into our conscious self and ask some new questions and open up some new doors, right? Like that film that Robin Williams played, right? Get on a table and have a look at what you've got from a different perspective, right? And then you start seeing something else that you didn't see before, and then you can make a different decision to serve you going towards your desired outcome. So that's so let me share what it is that we've just heard, and here's the way we've described it in our modules when we're doing the coaching program. So perspective is a way of looking at or interpreting a particular situation. So it's how you're filtering what you see. Think about that for a second. That's 3 words that says a particular situation. So think about your day to day. So every day we get up, we are potentially seeing new situations that were not there before come our way. Right? Inflation goes up, you have some more money coming in, you meet at potentially a new friend, a challenge comes up, it's raining, whatever. It's a particular situation that comes up. Now, when that situation comes up, we're wired to look at that and interpret it in a particular way. And some of us have learned to interpret certain things in a way that no longer serves us, which means it's getting in our way to get to our desired outcomes today. So through habits of past years, we have learned to interpret certain situations to mean something to us, which might have served us then, but no longer serving us now. Which means that interpretation is getting in your way. Does everybody follow? So if that's getting in your way, you're not moving as fast or as smoothly and easily as you want to. Right? So if you have learned that every time the weather gets cold, that you say, I hate cold weather, right? Now, whether you know it or not, that language will automatically switch your cells to feel in a particular way. And the way you feel turns into the way you act and you will behave. And that filters through you, all of us. So how we have interpreted something will have an impact. And we are all interpreting. So that's the news. We all interpret. The point is the interpretation getting in the way? Is there a problem? Now, before it may not have been a problem, but if it's a problem today, that's the opportunity to look at that interpretation and change it. And if you change that interpretation, you will get a different result. So I trust that you are seeing the power that each one of us have. It's the power of decision based on having our eyes open and seeing a different view to before, right? Hence, change of perspective. Now because we all interpret, because we all have these filters, sometimes we get into trouble, right? We're not moving towards what we want to move as fast or easy as we want. And because that's happening, we get irritated, we get frustrated, we get upset, we might, go under the, duvet and not come out for a few days. Whatever the outcome is, it shows that something's not working. Now, if we're attuned to our feelings, we can pick that up pretty quickly. Something's gone wrong. I don't feel that I'm not that energy that I want. Okay, what's going on? And then you start asking some more questions, some new questions. Or you work with a coach, or you talk to someone who can be a sounding board to you. And as you're having that conversation, you get to realize that your current perspective, your perspective you hold, is getting in your way for getting to the desired outcome. And just by seeing that, the power of making a new decision becomes reality. So you have the choice to make a decision on how you're going to interpret or give meaning to what you're faced with. And if you give it a different meaning, you'll get a different result. Now, I today, in today's kind of conversations, hopefully we'll get to practice a little bit on this. So to make it kind of real. So let's just complete the definition of perspective. And I want to share this because for me this changed my world when my penny dropped around perspective. So my perspective determines what experience I have, not the situation or circumstance I'm in. If it's raining, what I'm experiencing is from the perspective I hold, not because it's raining. Right? If you have a challenge at work, you go to a new job, a new role. Some of you said that that's what's happening for you. You're going to in transition. You go into a new role. You're going into a new environment. Now, your experience is determined by how you are thinking, feeling, behaving. Your perspective, what you are drawing on, how you are interpreting, how you're giving meaning to where you're about to go. And if that is an empowering perspective, you're going to feel pretty damn strong, powerful, ready to go and do what's necessary, make it work. If you're coming from a disempowering perspective, you're very likely to have your legs stuck in mud and feel as if you're not going anywhere, or you're not feeling so good. You go to work, but you go to work feeling, I don't particularly want to be there. You don't perform as well as you can. And your conversation in here is what's causing that. Not the work, not the boss, not the rain. And when that penny dropped for me, I realized how much power I hold, and it's my job to train this between my ears to its optimum. That's where I want to invest in. And that's what I'm inviting you all to invest in, because that's how it's going to transform the way you are experiencing your life. Doesn't matter where, anywhere in your life, personal, professional. So can I get a heads up on how everybody is? Just give me a thumbs up if this is working for you and we're in the right direction. If the energy is in the right direction, you're learning. Great. Thanks for participating. Okay, so with the time we've got, I want to dive straight into the 3-step process, and I want you guys to go and practice this, right? So here's the 3-step process we're going to go through together. And if you've got a pen and paper, please write this down, and some of the questions that you might want to ask when you go into the breakout room, so that you guys have a real powerful question and answer a conversation and come back and share. So what is the 3-step process? So the first step is, let's determine what is happening. What is the current reality? Right? So when you go out into the breakout room, so here's the thing, before we go to this, can you all write down a goal, something that you're working on or you want to work on, preferably what you're working on, a goal that you're working on, right? You don't have to share personal information to each other. It's more about just being clear where this is going to link to you making sustainable change for your desired goals or outcomes. So write down a goal that you're working on, right? I want to have a better relationship with my spouse. I want to earn more income. I want to hit the road running in my new job. Whatever it is for you, right? It doesn't really matter what goal it is. It's got to be yours, right? Something you're attached to. It's your desire, right? So great, thanks, Al. So the more clear you make this goal when you go into a breakout room and you're talking to each other, right? So the idea is a very quick coaching conversation with each other, right? So you decide when you go into the breakout room, who is going to be coach, who's going to be client. So this is the terminology we're using, right? So the client is going to share their goal, right? So if I'm going into the breakout room with Carla, and if I'm the coach, Carla is the client, I'll say, Carla, what is your goal? And Carla will say, oh, my goal is I want to, earn more income from my coaching practice, for example, right? And once she shares that goal, the first thing I want you to do as a coach is to go and ask the client, what is your current thinking? How are you seeing yourself in getting this outcome? How are you feeling about this goal? What are you doing about this goal? So the three things: what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing? Right? It's not a long conversation. So just pick one of those and hear what the other person says. Right? And to make it clear that you've heard them, maybe you want to just summarize what you heard. So, I summarize it. Carla says, yeah, that's how I'm thinking about it. Or that's how I feel about it. So great, Carla. That's where you are at now. So for the next step, we want to focus on the future desired outcome. So what is the perspective, or what is the way of thinking or feeling or doing do you think you need in order to go and get that goal done and get it done powerfully, like feeling good about it? So my next question to Carla will be, so Carla, imagine you've got this goal nailed, right? How are you thinking then? How are you feeling? Or what are you doing then? Right? So in essence, I'm asking her, having got there, who is she? How is she operating? You see where we're going with this? So the third step is, some of you may have guessed it, is, okay, how do you make this new empowering perspective your reality? How do you make, Carla, how do you make this thinking that's got you there, the thinking that's going to be with you right now through this journey until you get there? How are you going to embed this way of thinking, or the way you feel, or the behavior you mentioned? How are you going to embed this in you now? So if Carla's thinking, oh, no, if I asked her first question, what are you thinking right now about this goal of going and increasing your income for your coaching practice? And she says, oh, I feel a bit nervous. I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit lost. Right? That's the perspective. That's how she's thinking. And if I said to her, just imagine yourself there and you're doing it really good. What are you thinking? Who are you being there? And Carla says, I'm powerful. I am congruent to who I am. I am in service. I am knowledgeable. Whatever she says. Then I want to ask her, Carla, how are you going to embed feeling powerful right now instead of lost? So I'm going to invite her to start thinking about how she can change the way she's interpreting this today to something that's going to move her more powerfully towards her goal. So I'm going to ask you before I put you into a breakout room, right? I'm going to ask you, and I'd love you to participate both in chat or just open up your voice and shout it out. So if I ask you, can you share what are some of the disempowering perspectives you hold today or have heard others hold? What kind of things would you say come up? What kind of disempowering perspectives do you hold, or have you held, or have you heard others hold?
I can come up with one there, which is like a fear of the way forward, maybe, potentially. So
Yeah.
you're scared, nervous.
Absolutely. Fear. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm fearful. Absolutely, Stuart. What else? What other disempowering perspectives have you heard or you've experienced, or you may have it right now?
I think overthinking is something that may cause a problem in some journeys.
Okay, I'm overthinking it. I'm overthinking. Thanks, Armin. Anyone else? Any Khadija?
Yeah, if the same pattern, like unsuccessful pattern, has been occurring several times, so there is like a thinking that next time it will not be successful again. I will fail, for example.
Yeah. So when what Khadija is talking about is you might be, some disempowering perspective could be, I'm going to call this, I'm going to say a few things. This is not about Khadija. This is what people might be thinking. I'm a loser. I'm always going to fail here, right? I'm a failure, right? A lot of people talk, self-talk is pure lie. It's not true at all, but it's there, right? It's a disempowering perspective. And it's come from interpretation or experience, right? Or you've heard it others say so many times, it's become in your head, it's become a noise of, okay, this could be true, right? We need to break disempowering perspectives, because they're only disempowering, they're getting in your way, right? If it's not a problem, it's not a problem, right? If it's getting in your way, it's disempowering you. So you've got to break that pattern, and you can. So anybody else wants to share any other? Thanks, Khadija. Any other disempowering perspectives?
I'm happy to share two.
Sure.
One is doubt, and the other is comparison, i.e. doubting your own abilities, which I know fear was mentioned earlier as well, so it's a companion. And then comparison would be comparing yourself to others in the sense of, I'm not good enough, or can never produce the same amount of quality, and so forth. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think you guys are you're seeing you're understanding what disempowering perspectives are. All they are is a learned communication in our head about a situation or ourselves, which stops us moving forward powerfully. So let me give you a few that you might hear in the conversations you're going into, right? You may not hear it directly, but as you're listening to them, behind their words, maybe they're using this is what they mean, right? Let me list you a few things. It's too hard. This is too hard. It's empowering, right? Somebody mentioned, I think James mentioned doubt, Stuart mentioned fear, criticism. Criticizing yourself, criticizing others. Criticism. It's disempowering. Blame. It's all the government's fault that I am not having a job or an earning I want. Blame. It's all my boss's fault for me not progressing. Blame, disempowering perspective. Victim, playing the victim, disempowering. It's a disempowering perspective. Now I'm going to use this word, and it's not to do with the theme that Khadijah's got. It's the same word because the language uses it. And it's the word significance from a perspective of making things heavy. It's disempowering. Right? Armin may have been alluding to this, like overthinking, making it all heavy, as opposed to what? Right? How many of you, when you're in play, you get things done? You've seen others get things done because there's flow in play. There is heaviness in wanting this situation to be significant. It's not about the theme significance. It's the perspective of making things heavy. What about reaction? If you're reacting, meaning you're on autopilot, right? You're on autopilot and you're reacting as opposed to responding to what the situation needs. So if you're reacting, you're in this empowering perspective. You're interpreting something and you are reacting as opposed to giving it a different meaning and responding appropriately. Right? These are kind of things that you may come across in everyday language or thought process when you're talking either in your own life or in others, right? So it's happening around us. It's about becoming conscious when it's a problem to manage that, right? So some people talk about struggle. You know, this thing is just a struggle. That's a disempowering perspective, because the very fact that they think it's a struggle, it will be a struggle. Whereas life doesn't have to be a struggle. You can create life that's in flow, even when it's difficult, when situations are challenging. Yeah, it's challenging, but I'm in flow. I'm learning. This is making me learn. It's great. I'm growing, as opposed to this life is hell because I can't go anywhere. So I hope you're getting this, right? This empowering perspectives comes out in your language. It comes out in your energy. It comes out in your behavior, because it's the thoughts and beliefs and experiences that we hold that will naturally come out, right? In different situations. They'll come out in different situations. So it's about managing how ourselves, basically. So manage our thoughts, manage our feelings, manage our talks, our language. We have the power to do that. So let's talk about some empowering before we go into the group. So can anyone share some empowering perspective? I shared some of them. You share some more. What are some empowering perspectives?
Being positive and energetic during difficult situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do this. That's being positive. I can do it. There you go. Carla's written it. I can do it. I will find a way in due time. How about the word trust? I trust it will be okay. I trust I'll find the solution. That's a beautiful word. Just bring that into your day language, right? I trust. I trust that all will come together to serve me. It's the way you're talking, whether it's talking internally to yourself or to others. We have the power to control that. And as we control it, the circumstances change. That's the key thing here, is the circumstances are there for us to create. That's what I'm saying today. and the power is the way we're thinking, feeling, and behaving. That's aligned with that. Some other empowering perspectives. I am responsible for my life. I am responsible for the results I am getting today. I'm responsible for the way I feel right now. How about I love myself? I love who I am. I love my talents. I love the way I think. Right? So that it's just it's easy. This is easy. Right? You're going to go to the gym, right? You're going to go to the gym, and a lot of people say it's hard. This is going to be hard work. What about saying this is going to be easy? I'm going to go and nail it today. I'm going to do, 20% more reps. I'm going to nail it. This is easy. What about saying it's easy while you're doing it? Amazing what happens. Your body responds and you do more. But the opposite is when you're telling yourself this is hard, your body does less. It's amazing how this brain works and how it's linked to our cells, to our muscles, to our physiology, everything. Absolutely, Carla. That's absolutely the perspective. Okay, so I think you've got the gist. You've got the 3-step process. I'm going to put you into groups. I'm not going to kind of break you out into groups that I'm going to choose. I'm going to let the system choose how it's going to kind of get you guys to join. There's 10 of you, so let's say 5 groups of 2. I'm gonna give let's say 10 minutes. So we've got 5 minutes each, right? To go through this. It's not much time. So I know you're gonna have to get to know each other and the formalities, but I trust you can jump in and manage the time, and then we can come back and have time to actually share what you're learning and what's come out of this. So you're in 5 groups. Let me just do this. If you've got any questions, please ask me now as I'm designing this. Ask me any questions that you have right now, and then we can start. No questions? So the outcome of this is you using the 3-way process, and for you to come out seeing any insights or changes in what the opportunity holds for you for the goal that you've set. So you're all set. 10 minutes. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms now. If you have any questions, just raise your hand and I'll come into your group to help you out. Here we go. So Atafer, I'm not seeing you move to the group. Reza, you as well. So I'm assuming that you guys you can't participate. So I'm gonna see if I can change people around. Okay. Go back to recording. So anybody want to share their experiences? Anything that you want to share as an insight or learning here?
I'm happy to share, Taimur. So I was working with Carla, who actually, she had to jump to a business call. So she sends her apologies and her thanks to you, Taimur, for the session today. She found it very useful. She was actually calling in from Montevideo in Uruguay, which is given, I mean, was a very internationally flavored conversation. We actually only had the chance where I was the coach, but we had a good discussion. And so Carla's goal was to get more clients. She has a coaching business, and her current. She was feeling about that. She felt very good about having a coaching business and the value it was creating and will create for people. And her particular perspective at the moment was for the goal of achieving more clients was it was a roller coaster. Some days she felt good, other days she felt less confident. So, you know, I asked what would be a more empowering way to reframe that opportunity with the clients. And she picked up two things from the earlier session, which she really liked. One, how she can trust in herself, and two, that she's responsible for her life. She found those very empowering. And then I said, well, how are you to move forward with those so that those two affirmations are showing up in your daily life? And she talked about her faith and how they manifested themselves in their faith, which is a daily occurrence, and also that she's to continue to be curious, to learn, and be consistent in her application. And I asked her how she was feeling about the 5-6 minute session. So she felt really good. She felt very, very empowered and very positive. So that was my experience, our experience.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing, James. I'm guessing that you didn't get time to be the client. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, we sort of after the little bit of the formalities and our conversations, I didn't rush it too much. I wanted to make sure that Carla got the value, and then there was only a minute left, so we just had a chat.
That's absolutely fine. I think some others may have experienced that as well. Okay, so does anybody else want to share their experience or insight? Is there anybody else that wants to share? Okay, so I'm gonna dive straight into just sharing with you, for those of you who are going to do your Strength Finder assessment. This is mine, so you get this Strength Insight guideline or action planning guide. I did this back in 2011, so the title's changed a little bit, but in essence, it's the Strength Insight guideline now. And you'll get your top 5 themes, and for each of the themes, you get a personalized insight, and you pick out the bits that relate to, and that's what we will work through in terms of how you can build on that. Now, the reason why I'm sharing that is if you do the maths for people who do this assessment, there's a 1 in 33 million chance, or 1 in 33 million individuals will have the same top 5 themes in exactly the same order. Now, if you look at the dominant themes, which generally kind of go to the top 10 at least of the 34, that means that's where our brain functions naturally. Then pretty much it means we're very unique in the way that these talents and themes combine in the way they do to make us unique. So I find this a fantastic starting point in terms of that self-awareness that we talked about, in order to then, by knowing myself, I can kind of see if I can look at other perspectives and get to know other people from their perspective, and kind of help the relationship building. So that's what we were planning to do today. We've kind of got to the point where some of you have shared. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you before I wrap up today, if you could share with us some feedback. And the feedback, in essence, the initial one is, I'm going to launch it right now. It's 2 very simple questions. Was this event effective? So it's a single answer. And will you refer us to others to come and join us at these events? So if you can participate and let us know, that would be fantastic. It'll help us grow as well. And then once you've done this, I'm going to share with you where you see potentially your next stage of development, how that relates to some of the programs we're about to kick off, either this year or early next year. And then you can make a decision on whether you want to talk to one of our program consultants or join us at any other programs. So let me go back to the what's next. So this is the poll that's just come up for you. Again, it's 2 questions. The first one is, which of these programs do you see that are of interest to you? And there's some dates there that we're going to kick these off. And then the second one is, what would you like to happen after today? If you can spend a couple of minutes or a minute just answering this, while you're doing this, as I said before, the next strength workshop is going to be 22nd of November. I really invite you to, if you haven't been there, come and join us. Not only to celebrate the 10-year anniversary, but I genuinely think you will take a lot away with you that you can apply to your day-to-day life immediately. So I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you on the 22nd of November if you haven't done the strength workshop. And then I'm just going to give a 15 seconds just so that whoever's in the middle of doing this completes, and then I'll end this and we'll wrap up. Thank you for participating. Now, if I know some of you haven't are not on our programs at the moment. So if you haven't been following us on Instagram or LinkedIn, Facebook, in other social medias, I encourage you to come and follow us. We constantly put new content in there, so adding value to our followers. And if you go to our website, there's a WhatsApp connection there. If you have any questions that you have about either programs or some of the content we're putting up, I or one member of our team would be more than happy to connect with you. So I'm going to just end that poll. Thank you very much for participating. I want to wish every single one of you good health, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. Thanks for attending today. Take good care.
Thank you, Zaimur. Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody.